Alrighty, so this is a normal light stand and it's great for smaller lights, but bad for bigger lights like say this Forza 720B. Now this is a C stand and it can support much more weight, plus it has a 5/8 spigot or a baby pin on top, which is perfect for mounting bigger lights that need a longer spigot. Plus a C stand also has the added benefit of being able to attach a boom arm to move your light source away from the stand itself. But what if you wanted to shoot a wide shot of a scene? Well, both of these light stands don't really help if you want the light stand not to be in the shot. So that is why something like this stand comes in. This is the Kupo 546M Junior Boom Stand, and it has a little trick up its sleeve that will surprise you. How's it going, guys? Andrew Murph here from Down Under in Gold Coast, Australia. So the Kupo 546M Junior Boom Stand is a heavy duty light stand that has an integrated boom arm, which is an absolute game changer. Basically how the 546M works is that you can use it like a traditional stand and basically bring it up and down like you usually would. But then if you actually unlock this portion and extend it, we now can actually tilt this down and have a boom arm that we can use for so many different things. Now definitely be careful when you are indoors and you'll actually like remove this section, because the stand is quite high and this section is quite long. I was very close to banging into the roof of my house, and I have high ceilings as well. So in a low ceiling house, you're gonna have to kind of like do this when it's down and then kind of set it up. Now to actually extend out this portion, all we need to do is loosen off these bolts here and then basically just lift it up until we see the bottom of it come clear, and then we can actually swivel it down and then we can lock it all back up, and now we have a light stand with an integrated boom arm ready to go. And one of the best things about this light stand is this boom arm can be extended to 280 centimeters, which is just crazy. And what is even wilder is that when it's fully extended at 280 centimeters, it can still support 8 kilograms of weight. Now let's actually showcase this light stand in an actual scene so you can see how I would actually use it in my everyday shooting. So if we take our camera and we're gonna shoot super wide with the lighting setup, we wouldn't want the light stand to obviously be in frame. So by having a light stand with an integrated boom arm, basically we can move the light stand back as far out of frame as we want, and then we can just boom the light back in and basically place it wherever we want. And this is great if you're basically in a location where you can't mount stuff to anything on the ceiling, or you don't want to damage any fixtures on the ceiling. You basically just put your stand, boom it in, ready to go. Now one thing to keep in mind when you're setting this up is the leg placement and the use of a counterbalance. So firstly, always have the weight of the boom arm over a leg to avoid the stand actually tipping over. And when you're using any stand, whether it's this one or just a standard light stand, always use sandbags to basically weigh down the base. You don't want people tripping over and knocking lights over and stuff. It's gonna be a hassle. And literally the sandbags are like, I think you can get a 6-pack for like 40 bucks or something. Like they're so cheap. And then when we're actually booming lights out, we need to make sure that we add some counterbalance to the opposite end of the actual arm to help to keep it from being too heavy on one side. Now thankfully, Kupo have thought of this and they know what they're doing, so they've added a hole on the end, and basically what you can use is just a carabiner. You can clip it in, and then we can basically clip on sandbags to put counterbalance weight on the other end of the boom arm. And then basically to balance this out, all we need to do is loosen off this screw in the middle, and then we can just basically slide it back and forth until we have perfect balance. So if there's obviously too heavy on one side, we can actually slide it back, or we can add more counterbalance on the other side if we need the boom arm to still be as long. And basically the ideal scenario is that with this screw here loose, which basically will control your tilt, you shouldn't have to tighten this up and it should stay balanced. Now, if you're using the arm at the full 280 centimeters, you're probably gonna need a decent amount of weight on the other end to counterbalance it. And again, if it's way too heavy, you can either add more weight on the other side, or you can move the actual center point to then obviously make one side lighter or heavier. And this will just extend the life of your Kupo 546M, because the tension bolt that's basically holding it in isn't really doing anything. Like, it's not holding the tension of the weight itself. It's basically just there to lock everything together and stop it from moving. Like if we didn't have any counterweights, basically you just have to reef that bolt down, and that bolt is holding all the weight of the weight under the boom, which is not good. The Kupo 546M also has a lazy leg or a leveling leg, which comes in super handy if you ever need to use this stand on uneven ground. And this is one of those things where like, I didn't have access to it until I bought one of my other Kupo stands. And once I had it, now it's like, I really hate going back to my other stands that don't have it, because it's just so handy. So now, because the 546M can hold 8 kilograms when it's fully boomed out, I was able to boom my Forza 720B above this scene and do a cool like color change effect, where basically we can do like a teal orange look in the camera itself. And this is achieved by setting the light to 2700 Kelvin because it is a bi-colored fixture. We don't have to add any gels or anything, we can just crank it down. And then basically we drop the white balance in the camera down to 3200 Kelvin, which basically made the outside light a little bit cooler. And to show you how much of a difference this light is actually making, like this is the scene exposed for me, but only with natural light. And now this is the final shot, like night and day. All right, now for ultimate portability on set, we can basically pair the 546M with the KC100S casters. And this basically turns this massive stand into a massive wheeled stand. And honestly, if you buy the 546M, just buy the casters, because like even if you're only using it to just wheel it around set, it'd be worth it. Like because this light stand weighs like 15 kilograms or something on its own, a full day of lugging this around like on your shoulder or something, man, you'll feel it. And honestly, you'll thank me if you use this for a whole day and you have the caster wheels, you'll just save your back so much. And what is super duper cool, and I absolutely love what Cooper has done here, is basically when you pack it down with the wheels on, they fold in, and then these little bits on the end become the legs for it to stand on. Like, just small stuff like that is just so clever and makes your life so much easier. Now, as for price, the Kupo 546M will be an investment of 599 Australian dollars, which honestly I think is fantastic for having a heavy duty light stand and a boom arm integrated into an all-in-one system. And then the KC100S caster wheels will cost you an additional $159, which honestly is just a must in my books. Like, just get it. Anyway guys, if you did enjoy this one, then consider liking and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to find out any more about the Kupo 546M heavy duty light stand, I'll leave a link down below. Otherwise, stay creative and just be you. Have fun.